I cheated on my second husband with our boss. I married him, and 10 years later, I'm in the middle of a divorce and pregnant with my ex-husband's baby. Thank you so much if you stuck through for this story this long, but it is a lot, and I warned you guys from the beginning. But anyway, so we're at the point where Penelope and Anthony have reconnected, and Anthony's girlfriend that he had at the time, like, starts to get involved and is, like, nitpicking at Anthony. Now, what I did not tell you guys is that this is something that I did not know, but throughout this entire time, after Anthony and I separated, Anthony was a plumber. He was a plumber when we were teenagers. He worked for this one company. After we separated, he moved back to Virginia, continued to work, like started working for this company again, worked for 3 years straight, never took a day off, saved up all of his money, and ends up buying a partnership in this company. A few years after that, he ends up buying out the owner and now owns this company outright. I had no idea when Anthony and I started talking again that he was an owner of a company, that he made good money, and that he did all this stuff. When him and I were together, we lived paycheck to paycheck. I was completely fine with that. I was completely satisfied. We love shopping at Costco. I love buying my clothes from Costco and Walmart. Like, I've never been someone who needed these crazy expensive things. But I, even when Anthony came back around and he was like telling me like all the stuff that he did and all these properties that he owned, and like, just, I think it was like, I think he wanted me to see that he had really done well for himself. I really had nothing to show for my life, except for a mess, a pile of heaping shit. But I was like, I heard him, but I kind of didn't believe him. Like, I didn't believe that he really owned this company until like we came down here to visit and I saw him sign payroll checks for like the third time, because I thought maybe the first time he was just faking it. But like, the man does very well for himself. But that was obviously, I didn't know any of that when him and I started talking again, when Penelope started talking again. To this day, I've never seen his bank account. I don't know. But he does well, and he takes care of our daughter, and that's really all that matters. But him and Penelope start talking. We agree to find a time for them to reconnect. We had a lot going on. He was going on a hunting trip. We were going to go see my parents in California. So they end up not seeing each other again until the beginning of December, like maybe 3 weeks after they start talking. But they're talking on the phone every single day. At some point, about a week into Anthony and I talking, I got on the phone with him. And like I said, I told you guys, I said I was never going to apologize to him because I felt like he never apologized to me for all the stuff he did. This is how like stubborn I was, and like how I was still a piece of shit. And then literally, it was like one night I just started crying, and I had this overwhelming sense of guilt and shame and embarrassment for everything that I had done. It was like it all hit me at one time. And I'll never forget, I called Anthony and I just started sobbing, and I was like, I'm sorry. I'm so sorry. Like, when I told him I wasn't going to apologize to him, he's like, I don't need an apology. Like, this isn't about that. Like, you know, we could be friends. Like, tell me how crazy you are now. Like, he's always known I've been wild, and you know, he kind of joked about it or whatever. And he's like, you know, I don't need an apology from you. I've moved on. I forgave you. And I was like, okay, I didn't ask for your forgiveness, but whatever. Like, that's kind of the attitude that I had. And then